The great hall of the Galactic Council was silent. Dr. Tae-Woo Jin sat in the human section, his hands shaking as he watched the vote count appear on the massive screen above. The numbers glowed red against the dark metal walls. Final vote on Resolution 847 Alpha, announced the council speaker, a tall blue creature with 4 arms. The complete elimination of the Vortex species. Tae closed his eyes. He had studied alien life for 20 years. He had seen many strange and wonderful creatures across the galaxy, but he had never seen anything like what happened on Colony 7. The Vorthak had come in the night. They were huge, dark creatures with teeth like knives and claws that could cut through steel. They destroyed everything: buildings, farms, people. When the rescue ships arrived 3 days later, they found nothing alive. 3 million people gone. The Eridani Republic votes yes, said a voice from the floating platform above. Tae opened his eyes. The Eridani were peaceful people. They looked like tall, thin humans with silver skin. They had never hurt anyone in their long history. But even they wanted the Vorthak dead. The Centauran Alliance votes yes. The Helix Federation votes yes. The Aquatic Collective votes yes. One by one, every species in the galaxy voted the same way. Kill all the Vorthak, every single one. Adults, children, babies. All of them. Me, Rai-young, sitting next to Tae, stood up fast. Her chair made a loud noise on the metal floor. Other beings turned to look at her. This is wrong, she said. Her voice was loud in the quiet hall. You cannot kill children for what their parents did. The council speaker looked down at her. The human representative will sit down. No, me said. She was small compared to most aliens in the room, but her voice was strong. I will not sit down while you plan to murder babies. A low growling sound came from the Vortex section. But it was empty now. All the adult Vorthak were already dead, killed in the war that ended 1 week ago. Only their children remained on their homeworld, and the council wanted them dead too. The Vorthak young will grow up to be killers, said Veldrin, the lead speaker for the Centaurians. It is in their nature. They cannot change. We have seen what they do. Colony 7, New Brighton, the research station on Kepler 442, all destroyed, all dead. Tae stood up next to me. We do not know if they can change. We have never tried to teach them. Because they cannot be taught, said another voice. This came from the Eridani section. They are born killers. Every study shows this. Their brains are different. They think only of hunting and killing. They are children, me said again. Just children. The council speaker raised all 4 arms. The vote continues. What is the human position? Tae looked at me. They both knew what Earth wanted them to vote. The message from home was clear. Do not make enemies of the entire galaxy for a few alien children. But as Tae looked around the room, he saw something that made him sick. These were supposed to be the good people of the galaxy. The peaceful ones, the smart ones. The ones who made laws about protecting life and helping those who could not help themselves. And they all wanted to kill children. The human delegation ... Tae started to say. Votes to abstain, me finished. The room exploded with noise. Aliens stood up, waving arms and tentacles and other body parts. They made angry sounds in 100 different languages. Abstain? Shouted Veldrin. You will not even vote to protect the galaxy from these monsters? We will not vote to kill children, Tae said. That is not who we are. The council speaker hit a large bell with a metal stick. The noise was so loud it hurt Tae's ears. Slowly, the room became quiet again. The final vote, said the speaker. All species except humanity vote yes. The Vorthak elimination protocol is approved. All remaining Vorthak life will be left on their homeworld to die naturally. No species will give aid. No species will interfere. The Vorthak system is now forbidden. Tae felt his heart break. Somewhere on a planet far away, alien children were crying for their parents, and the whole galaxy had just decided to let them die alone. After the vote, Tae and me walked through the long hallways of the council station. Other beings moved away from them. No one wanted to talk to the humans who would not vote to kill the monster children. "We should go home," Mi said. "Earth will want a full report." But Tay was not thinking about going home. He was thinking about Captain Han Gilsu, who was waiting for them on their ship. Han was a good man, but he was also a soldier. He followed orders. They found Han in the ship's main room, reading reports on his tablet. He looked up when they came in. "How did the vote go?" he asked. "They are going to let the children die," Mi said. She sat down hard in a chair. "All of them." Han was quiet for a long moment. He put down his tablet and looked out the big window at the stars. "How many children?" he asked. "We do not know," Tay said. "Maybe dozens, maybe hundreds, and they are alone?" "Yes, the adults are all dead. The children have no one to take care of them." Han stood up and walked to the control panel. His fingers moved over the buttons. "Captain," Tay said. "What are you doing?" "Setting a course," Han said. "Where?" "To the Vorthak homeworld." Mi jumped up. "Han, we cannot. It is forbidden. Now, if we go there, we will be criminals." Han stopped pushing buttons and turned to look at them. "Dr. Tay, you have children back on Earth, yes?" "2 daughters." "And Dr. Mi, you have a son?" "Yes." "If your children were alone on a dying world and everyone in the galaxy decided to let them die, what would you want someone to do?" Tay knew the answer. Mi knew it too. "The right thing," Tay said quietly. "Then that is what we will do," Han said. "We are going to help those children, even if the whole galaxy hates us for it." The ship turned toward the Vorthak system. Behind them, the council station grew smaller and smaller until it was just another point of light among the stars. Ahead of them was a dying world and children who needed help, and 3 humans who had decided that sometimes doing the right thing was more important than being safe. The ship New Soul dropped out of faster-than-light travel with a shudder that ran through the metal walls. Captain Han Gilsu stood on the bridge, looking at the planet that filled the main screen. Kethvara, the Vorthak homeworld, was dying. "My God," whispered Mirai Young. She stood next to the captain, her face pale. What did they do to this place? The planet below them was brown and gray. No green anywhere, no blue oceans. Just dust and dead land stretching across the surface like a wound. Dr. Tae-woo Jin checked his instruments. "The atmosphere is still breathable, but barely. The plants are all dead. The rivers have dried up. This world has maybe 6 months before nothing can live here." Commander Yu So-bin, the ship's security chief, crossed her arms. "Captain, I do. Not like this. The Vorthak destroyed their own world in their final war. What if some adults are still alive down there?" "The orbital scans show no large life signs," Tay said. "If any adults survived, they are gone now." Han nodded slowly. "Take us down. Find a safe place to land near the old cities." The ship descended through thick, gray clouds. When they broke through, they could see the ruins of Vorthak civilization spread out below them. Huge buildings lay broken and empty. Streets were filled with sand and debris. Nothing moved. "There," Han pointed to a flat area near what looked like the remains of a great city. "Set us down there." The landing was rough. The ground was not stable, and the ship shook as it touched down. Through the windows, they could see twisted metal and broken stone everywhere. "Atmosphere check complete," reported Tay. "We can breathe out there, but I recommend masks. The air is full of dust." Han turned to his crew. "Dr. Tay, take your team and look for any signs of life. Commander Yu, you go with them. Keep everyone safe. Dr. Mi, you stay here and monitor communications." "I want to come too," Mi said. "If we find children, they might be scared." "I have experience with frightened kids. The Vorthak children are not like human children," Yu said. "Even as babies, they have claws and teeth. They could hurt you without meaning to." "All children are the same when they are scared and alone," Mi replied. Han thought for a moment. "You can come, but you stay back until we know it is safe." The team put on their environment suits and breathing masks. The airlock opened with a hiss and they stepped out onto the dead world. The silence was terrible. No birds, no insects, no sound of wind through trees. Just the crunch of their boots on broken ground. They walked toward the ruined city. The buildings were huge, built for creatures much larger than humans. Doorways stood 3 meters tall. Windows were narrow slits like the eyes of predators. The Vorthek built for war, Tay said, running his scanner over a collapsed wall. Even their homes look like fortresses. They spent 2 hours searching the surface ruins. They found bones, weapons, broken machinery, but no life. No movement. Nothing. Maybe they all died, you said. Maybe there are no children left. But Tay was studying his readings. Wait, I'm getting some small heat signatures, very faint. Coming from underground. Underground? There? Tay pointed to a dark opening in the ground near the base of a large building. My scanner shows open spaces down there like caves or tunnels. You checked her weapon? I go first. Everyone stays behind me. They climb down into the darkness. Their helmet lights cut through the black, showing rough stone walls. The tunnels were natural caves, but the Vorthak had made them larger. They had carved symbols into the walls and built platforms from stone. This was important to them, Mi said, looking at the carved pictures. These show families. Parents with children. Nesting grounds, Tay said. They brought their young here to be safe. The tunnels went deep into the earth. As they walked, their lights began to pick up small movements in the shadows ahead. There, you whispered. Something is moving. They stopped. In the darkness ahead, yellow eyes reflected their lights back at them. Not 2 eyes. Not 4. Dozens of eyes watching them from the shadows. Vorthek young, Tay breathed. The creatures moved closer, and the humans could see them clearly. For the first time. They were smaller than the adults, but still larger than humans. Their skin was dark gray, covered in natural armor plates. Their claws clicked on the stone as they walked. Their teeth were sharp and white, but something was wrong with them. They moved slowly, like they were sick. Their eyes were dull. Their armor plates showed their ribs underneath. They are starving, said Nurse Nodalgii, who had been quiet until now. Look at them. They are dying. The young Vorthak stopped at the edge of the light. There were at least 20 of them, maybe more in the shadows. They looked at the humans with those yellow eyes, but they did not attack. They are afraid of us, Mi said. It's just like human children would be afraid of strangers. One of the younglings stepped forward. It was smaller than the others, barely reaching Mi's shoulder. Its armor was lighter in color, and its eyes were brighter than the rest. Easy, you said, her hand on her weapon. Do not move fast. But the small Vorthak did something unexpected. It sat down on the stone floor and made a soft sound. Not a growl or a roar. Something almost like a purr. It is trying to show us it is not dangerous, Tay said. This is submission behavior. The small Vorthak looked directly at Dr. Tay. Slowly, carefully, it reached out one clawed hand toward him. Doctor, you warned, those claws can cut metal. But Tay was already moving. He knelt down slowly and reached out his own hand. For a moment, human and Vorthak just looked at each other. Then gently, the young alien touched its claw to Tay's gloved finger. The touch was soft, careful, like the creature knew it could hurt the human and was trying very hard not to. Hello, little one, Tay said quietly. The young Vorthak made that purring sound again. It looked up at Tay with eyes that seemed far too wise for something so young. They are not monsters, Mi said, her voice full of wonder. They are just children, scared, hungry children. Behind the small one, the other younglings began to move closer. They stayed low to the ground, showing they were not a threat. Some of them were so weak they could barely walk. How long have they been alone down here? Dalgai asked. Weeks, maybe months, Tay said. Since the last adults died? Han's voice came through their communicators. Tim, what is your status? Tay looked at the small Vorthak still touching his hand. The creature's eyes were starting to close like it was too tired to stay awake. Captain? Tay said. We found the children. How many? Tay looked around at all the yellow eyes watching them from the darkness. All of them, I think. And Captain? Yes, they need help. They need help right now, or they are all going to die. The small Vorthak made one more soft sound and collapsed against Tay's leg, too weak to sit up anymore. Around them the other younglings began to make similar sounds. Not roars of anger or growls of threat. They were crying for their parents. Crying because they were hungry and scared and alone, and in that moment every human in the cave knew what they had to do. The news traveled fast across the galaxy. Within hours, every major news network was talking about the same thing. Humans had found the Vorthak children and were helping them. Ambassador Junbeo Young stood in her office on the council station, watching the reports on her screen. Her hands shook as she read the angry messages flooding in from other species. "The humans have broken galactic law," said one message from the Eridani Republic. "They must leave the Vorthak system immediately." "This is an act of war against the Council's decision," said another from the Centaurians. "Remove your people now or face the consequences." June turned off the screen and sat down at her desk. She knew what Captain Han was doing was right. But she also knew it might destroy humanity's place in the galaxy forever. Her communication device buzzed. The council speaker wanted to see her, now on Kathvara. Dr. Taewoo-jin worked carefully to move the young Vorthak onto the ship. The smallest one, who the crew had started calling Little One, stayed close to Tae's side. The creature seemed to trust him completely. "How many are there?" asked Captain Han as they carried the weakest younglings to the medical bay. 23 that we can see," said Commander Yusobin. "But there might be more hiding deeper in the caves." Nurse Nadalja was already working to help the sickest ones. "They need food and water right away. But I do not know what Vorthak children eat. I am working on that," said Dr. Mio Young. She had spent the last hour trying to communicate with the younglings. They do not speak like adults. Their sounds are different, simpler. Mi knelt down next to Little One, who was sitting on the floor of the medical bay. The young Vorthak looked up at her with those bright yellow eyes. "Food," Mi said slowly, pointing to her mouth. "Hungry?" Little One tilted its head to one side. Then it made a soft clicking sound with its tongue. "That sound," Mi said excitedly. "It means yes in their language. I think it means yes." She tried again, pointing to a cup of water. "Water? Drink?" Little One made the same clicking sound and reached for the cup, but its claws were too big to hold it properly. "Here," Mi said. She held the cup while Little One drank. The creature was very careful not to scratch her with its claws. Dr. Tae watched this and felt hope growing in his chest. They can learn. They want to learn. But Engineer Bin Yuhan had bad news. "Captain, we have a big problem. The ship's life support systems cannot handle 23 extra beings for very long, especially not Vorthak. They need different air mixtures than we do." "What do you need?" Han asked. "Time to build new air filters. Time to expand the water recycling systems. Time to figure out how to make food they can digest." Bin wiped sweat from his forehead. "And we need supplies we do not have. How long can you keep them alive with what we have now?" "Maybe 2 weeks, maybe less." Han felt the weight of 23 young lives pressing down on him. 2 weeks was not enough time to figure out how to save them. Ambassador Jun stood before the full council. Every species was represented. Every species was angry. "Ambassador Jun," said the council speaker, "your people have violated our direct orders. The Vorthak system is forbidden. No aid is to be given." "They are children," Jin said, "just children." "They are Vorthak," said Veldrin of the Centaurians. "In 10 years they will be the same killers their parents were." "You are making a mistake. That will cost millions of lives." "We do not know that," Jin replied. "We have never tried to raise them in peace." "Because it is impossible," said the Eridani representative. "Their brains are different. They think only of hunting and killing. This is science, not opinion." The Helix Federation speaker stood up. "If humanity does not remove their ship from Vorthak space within 24 hours, we will consider it an act of war." Jun felt her heart sink. The Helix Federation was humanity's oldest ally. If they turned against Earth, other species would follow. 24 hours, repeated the council speaker. After that, any human ship in the Vortex system will be fired upon. Back on the ship, Dr. Me was making amazing progress with the younglings. She had learned 12 different sounds they used to communicate. Little one was the best at learning human words. Me, the young Vortex said slowly. Me ... Yes, Me said, tears in her eyes. I am your friend. Little one made a happy purring sound. Then it said something that made Me's heart stop. ... Mother ... Dead? Me looked at the small creature that was trying so hard to understand its world. Yes, little one, your mother is dead. But you are not alone. We will take care of you. Little one was quiet for a long time. Then it asked, You? Mother now? Captain Han's communication device buzzed loudly. It was a priority message from Earth Command. He read it twice before calling his senior officers to the bridge. Orders from Earth, he said. We are to leave the Vortex system immediately. Number. Debate, no delay. What about the children? Asked Dr. Tay. Earth Command says that is not our problem. Commander Yu crossed her arms. If we stay, we become criminals. Every human on this ship will be wanted by galactic law. If we leave, 23 children die, said Dr. Me. Children who are learning to trust us. Children who think we are their new families. Engineer Bin looked up from his tablet. Captain, I have been thinking. The Helix Federation has the technology we need to keep the younglings alive. If we could get to one of their medical stations. They will never help us, you said. They want the children dead. But if we could show them what Dr. Me has discovered, Tay said. If we could prove the younglings can be peaceful. Han walked to the main screen and looked down at the dead planet below. Somewhere in the caves, there might be more children waiting to die. Captain, came a voice from the communication station. Earth Command is demanding a reply. They want confirmation that we are leaving. Han stood quietly for a long moment. Everyone on the bridge waited for his decision. Finally, he walked to the communication panel and began typing his response. Message to Earth Command, he said out loud as he typed. We found 23 Vorthic children in the caves. They are starving and afraid. They are learning to trust us. They are learning to be peaceful. He paused and looked around at his crew. We came to the stars to be better than we were on Earth. We came to help those who needed help. We did not come here to abandon children because helping them is dangerous. He finished typing and looked at the send button. Humanity has made its choice. He pressed the button. Then he walked to the main communication controls and turned them off. The ship went silent. No more messages from Earth, no more threats from the Council, no more demands to abandon the children. We are alone now. Han said quietly. Outside, the stars watched as one small human ship chose to stand against the entire galaxy. 3 months had passed since the new soul went silent. The ship drifted through empty space, far from any inhabited system. Captain Hen Gilsu had found an old asteroid field where they could hide and work. Dr. Taewoo Jin looked up from his laboratory computer, rubbing his tired eyes. For weeks, he had been studying blood samples from the young Vorthak. What he found was changing everything he thought he knew about their species. Me, he called to Dr. Mi Ra-young, who was in the next room teaching the younglings. You need to see this. Me came into the lab, followed by Little One. The young Vorthak had grown in the past months. It was now taller than me, but it still followed her everywhere like a lost child. What did you find? Me asked. Tate pointed to his screen. Look at these brain scans. The parts of the Vorthak brain that control aggression and violence. They are not fully developed in the young ones. What does that mean? It means they are not born killers. The violent behavior is learned. It develops as they grow up. But only if they are taught to be violent. Me stared at the screen. So if we teach them to be peaceful instead, they might stay peaceful, Tay finished. Their brains can be shaped by how they are raised. Little One looked at the screen too, even though it could not understand what the humans were discussing. It had learned to be curious about human activities. "Friend Tay working?" it asked in simple human words. "Yes, little one," Tay said. "I am working to understand how your mind works." "Little one, mind different," Tay smiled. 3 months ago, the young Vorthak could barely make sounds. Now it was asking questions about its own thoughts. "Your mind is wonderful," Tay said. "You are learning so fast." In another part of the ship, teacher Lee Hansol was having the most difficult and rewarding job of his life. He sat in a large room with 12 young Vorthak, trying to teach them concepts their species had never known. "Today we learn about sharing," Lee said, holding up 2 food bars. "When someone has something good, what do? A young Vorthak named Two Claw raised its hand. "We share with friends?" "Very good," Lee said. "We share because sharing makes everyone happy." He broke 1 food bar into pieces and gave each youngling a small piece. "Now everyone has some, no one is hungry. No one is left out." Three Stripe, one of the larger younglings, looked confused. "But in old stories, Big Vorthak takes all food. Little Vorthak gets nothing. Those were the old ways," Lee said patiently. "The old ways made everyone angry and sad. The new ways make everyone happy." Two Claw shared its piece with Three Stripe. "Happy way better," it said. Lee smiled. These children were proving that nature did not have to control destiny. They were choosing to be kind because kindness made sense to them, but not everything was going well. Chief Medical Officer Park Dalho looked worried as he talked to Captain Han in the medical bay. "Captain, we have serious problems. 5 of the younglings are sick with something I do not understand." Han looked at the sick younglings lying on medical beds. They were breathing hard and their skin color was wrong. "What is it?" "I think it is a genetic condition. Something that happens to Vorthak when they do not get the right minerals from their home planet. Without treatment, they will die." "What treatment do they need?" "Medical equipment I do not have. Medicines that only exist on advanced medical stations." "Captain, I am doing my best, but I am not a Vorthak doctor." Engineer Bin Yuhan came into the medical bay. "Captain, we have another problem. The life support systems are failing. I have fixed them 3 times, but we need parts I cannot make." Han felt the weight of all the problems pressing down on him. No communication with Earth, no help from the galaxy, limited supplies, sick children who might die. How long can you keep the systems running? Maybe 2 weeks, maybe less. That night, Dr. Mi made a discovery that would change everything. She was sitting with Little One and Two Claw in the ship's observation room, looking out at the stars. The 2 young Vorthak were talking to each other in their own language, making soft clicking and humming sounds. Suddenly, Little One turned to me. "Two Claw is sad," it said. Me looked at Two Claw, who seemed normal. "How do you know?" "I feel it here." Little One touched its chest. Two Claw thinks about mother, very sad. Two Claw nodded. "Little One knows my thoughts." "I know Little One thoughts too." Me felt excitement growing in her chest. "You can feel each other's emotions?" "Yes, all young Vorthak can do this. We share feelings, share memories." "Can you share feelings with humans?" Little One looked at me for a long moment. Then it reached out and gently touched her hand with its clawed finger. Suddenly me felt something amazing. Warmth, love, gratitude, not her own feelings, but Little One's feelings flowing into her mind. "Oh my," she whispered. "I can feel what you feel." "You are a good mother," Little One said. "I share love with you." Me started crying, but they were happy tears. She was feeling the pure, innocent love of a child who had lost everything but still chose to trust and care for others. The discovery of the telepathic bonding changed everything. Dr. Tay found that when the younglings bonded with humans, their brain chemistry changed even more. They became calmer, more curious, more peaceful. "They are designed to bond with their families," he explained to the crew. "But they can bond with any species that cares for them." Soon every youngling had bonded with at least one human crew member. The ship became filled with a strange, Wonderful mix of human and Vorthak families. Three-Stripe bonded with Engineer Ben and spent hours helping fix machines. Two-Claw bonded with Nurse Daljai and helped take care of sick crew members. Even the shyest younglings found humans to trust and love, but their peaceful time was about to end. "Captain," called the officer at the sensor station. "I am detecting ships approaching. 3 vessels coming fast." Han rushed to the bridge. "Identification?" "Galactic Council patrol ships. They found us." On the main screen, Han could see the sleek warships moving toward them. Each one was 3 times the size of the New Sol. "Captain," came a voiceover. The radio. "This is Patrol Leader Vextan of the Council Fleet. You are in violation of galactic law. Surrender the Vorthak specimens immediately." Han looked around his bridge. Commander Yu stood ready at the weapons station, but they all knew they could not fight 3 warships. Dr. Tay and Dr. Mi came onto the bridge, followed by Little One and several other younglings. The young Vorthak looked scared, but they stayed close to their human families. "Captain," Little One said quietly, "are the bad ships here to hurt us?" Han knelt down next to Little One. "I do not know, Little One, but I promise we will not let them hurt you." "We trust you," Little One said. "You are our family now." Han stood up and looked at the approaching ships. He made a decision that would change the galaxy forever. "Open a channel to the patrol ships," he said, full visual. "Channel open, Captain. Patrol Leader Vextan," Han said. "I am Captain Han Gilsu. If you want the Vorthak children, you will have to take them by force. And if you do that, you will be taking them from their families." On the screen, he could see the patrol leader's shocked face as Little One and the other younglings moved to stand beside their human protectors. The galaxy was about to see something it had never seen before. Vorthak and humans standing together as one family. Patrol Leader Vextan stared at his screen in shock. He had come to arrest criminals and take dangerous creatures. Instead, he saw something that should not exist, Vorthak children standing next to humans like they were family. "This is impossible," he said to his crew. "Vorthak cannot form bonds with other species." "Captain Han," Vextan called over the radio, "what you are doing is against the laws of nature. Those creatures will turn on you. They always do." Little One stepped forward. "On the bridge of the New Sol." "May I speak to the patrol leader?" it asked Captain Han in its careful human words. Han nodded. "Go ahead, Little One." Little One looked directly at the screen. "Patrol Leader Vextan, my name is Little One. I am Vorthak. But I am also family to these humans. They saved my life. They taught me to be kind. I do not want to hurt anyone." Vextan's face went pale. He had studied Vorthak for years. Adult Vorthak could not speak peacefully. They could only threaten and demand. But this young one was talking like a civilized being. "Impossible," he whispered. "Please," Little One continued. "Do not take me away from my family. I will be good, I promise." Behind Little One, the other younglings moved closer to their human protectors. Two-Claw held Nurse Dalgai's hand. Three-Stripe stood next to Engineer Ben. They all looked scared, but they also looked like children who trusted their families to keep them safe. Vextan turned off the screen and talked quickly to his officers. After 10 minutes, he came back on. "Captain Han, I am changing my orders. You will come with us to the Galactic Council station. You will bring the Vorthak younglings. The full council will decide what to do. And if we refuse?" Han asked. "Then I will have to use force, but I hope you will come peacefully. What I have seen today, it needs to be seen by others." The journey to the council station took 5 days. Word spread quickly across the galaxy that the humans were bringing the Vorthak children to stand trial. Every news network in known space was talking about it. Ambassador Jun Bo Young waited nervously at the docking bay. She had not seen her own people in months. When Captain Han walked off the ship, followed by Dr. Tay, Dr. Mi, and 23 young Vorthak, she felt her heart stop. The younglings stayed close to their human families. They looked around with curious eyes, but they did not growl or show their teeth. They looked like children on a school trip. "Jun," Han said, shaking her hand. "Thank you for agreeing to defend us." Thank you for showing the galaxy what courage. Looks like, she replied. Little one came up to Jun and bowed its head politely. You are Ambassador Jun. Friend Tay told me about you. You help humans talk to other species. Jun stared at the young Vorthak, who was speaking to her with perfect manners. Yes, little one, that is what I do. Will you help us talk to the council? We want to show them we are not monsters. June felt tears in her eyes. I will try my best. The council chamber was packed. Representatives from every species in the galaxy had come to see the trial. The humans sat in their section with the Vorthak younglings beside them. Many aliens stared in shock at the sight. Some younglings were reading human books. Others were quietly playing games. Three-Stripe was helping engineer bin fix a broken tablet. This trial will decide the fate of both the human crew and the Vorthak specimens, announced the council speaker. The humans are charged with violating galactic law. The Vorthak specimens are charged with being an ongoing threat to galactic peace. Prosecutor Veldrin of the Centaurians stood up. Council members, these humans have made a terrible mistake. They think they can change what millions of years of evolution created. The Vorthak are born killers. These children may seem peaceful now, but when they grow up, they will become the same monsters their parents were. He showed the council pictures of destroyed colonies. This is what Vorthak do. This is what they have always done. Keeping these children alive puts every peaceful species at risk. Ambassador Jun stood up to defend humanity. Council members, what you see before you is proof that nature does not control destiny. These children have lived with humans for 6 months. They have learned to read, to share, to care for others. They have bonded with their human families through telepathic connections that promote peace and empathy. Impossible, said the Eridani representative. Vorthak cannot form such bonds. Then see for yourself. June said. Dr. Me stood up and walked to Little One. She placed her hand on the young Vorthak's shoulder. Little One closed its eyes, and suddenly, every telepathic species in the chamber felt it. Love, pure, innocent love, flowing from the young Vorthak to the human. No anger, no aggression. Just the simple love of a child for its adoptive mother. The chamber fell silent. The prosecution wants you to judge these children for crimes they have not committed, Jun continued, for thoughts they do not think, for violence they have never shown. This is not justice. This is fear. Veldrin stood up again. Even if they are peaceful now, how do we know they will stay peaceful? How do we know this is not just clever acting? That was when Little One asked permission to speak. The young Vorthak walked to the center of the chamber. Every eye in the room was on it. Security guards raised their weapons, ready to fire if it showed any sign of aggression. My name is Little One, it said in clear, strong words that echoed through the chamber. I am Vorthak. My parents were killed in the war. I was alone and scared and hungry. I thought I would die. It looked around at all the different species watching it. Then the humans came. They could have left me to die like everyone else did, but they saved me. They fed me. They taught me to speak your words. They showed me what love means. Little One's voice grew stronger. You say I will become a monster when I grow up, but I do not want to be a monster. I want to be like my human family. I want to help people, not hurt them. I want to learn and explore and make friends. The chamber was completely silent. If you kill me, you are not stopping a monster. You are killing a child who wants to be good. And if you do that, who is the real monster? Little One looked directly at Veldrin. If I promise to be good, if I promise to never hurt anyone, if I promise to spend my life helping others, will you let me live? Will you let my brothers and sisters live? The young Vorthak took a deep breath. I offer my life to prove that my species can change. If I ever become violent, if I ever hurt an innocent being, then you can kill me and all my family. But please, give us a chance to show you what we can become. The chamber erupted in noise as representatives argued with each other. But slowly, something was changing. Some aliens were looking at the Vorthak children not with fear, But with curiosity. And for the first time in galactic history, the question was not whether to destroy the Vorthak, but whether to give them hope. The council chamber stayed silent for a long time after Little One finished speaking. Representatives from hundreds of worlds looked at the young Vorthak who had just offered its life to prove its species could change. Finally, the council speaker stood up. We will vote. All in favor of allowing the Vorthak younglings to live? Green lights began appearing on the voting board. Slowly at first, then faster. Species that had voted for extinction months ago were now voting for life. The Aquatic Collective voted yes. The Mineral Syndicate voted yes. Even some of the smaller human colonies voted yes, but the big powers stayed red. The Eridani Republic, the Centaurian Alliance, the Helix Federation, all still voted no. Ambassador Jun Bao-young watched the vote count with her heart pounding. They needed more than half to win. Right now, they had exactly half. Final count, announced the council speaker. The motion passes by one vote. The chamber exploded with noise. Some aliens cheered. Others shouted in anger. But in the human section, Captain Hun Gilsu hugged Dr. Tae-woo Jin while tears ran down their faces. Little One looked confused. We can live? It asked Dr. Miura-young. Yes, Little One, Mi said, crying happy tears. You can live. But the victory came with conditions. The council speaker read them out over the noise. The Vorthak younglings will be allowed to live, but under permanent human care. They must be watched at all times. They must receive regular mental health checks. If any youngling shows signs of returning to violent behavior, they will be removed. Immediately, Prosecutor Veldrin stood up. And if even one of them hurts an innocent being, all of them will be destroyed. Little One stepped forward again. We understand. We accept these rules. Thank you for giving us a chance. The vote was over, but Jun knew the real work was just beginning. 5 years later, Dr. Mi stood in the observation room of New Haven Station, watching something that would have been impossible to imagine years ago. Little One, now calling itself Kethmer, was teaching a group of mixed-species children how to solve problems without fighting. The class included human children, young Eridani, a few Centaurian younglings, and 3 more Vorthak who had been found and rescued. When someone makes you angry, Kethmore said in perfect galactic standard, what do we do first? A small human girl raised her hand. We count to 10? Very good, Sarah, and then what? We talk about our feelings, said a young Eridani boy. Excellent. We use words, not claws or teeth or weapons. Words are always better than violence. Dr. Mi smiled. Kethmer had grown into a fine young adult. It was nearly 3 meters tall now, with the natural armor and claws of its species. But it was gentle with the children, careful never to hurt them even by accident. Teacher Kethmer, asked one of the Vorthak younglings, what if the other person will not listen to words? Kethmer thought carefully. Then we ask for help from adults who can protect everyone. We never fight unless someone's life is in danger. And even then, we try to protect, not destroy. Captain Han, now Admiral Han, came into the observation room. How are they doing today? Wonderfully, Mi said. Kethmer is an amazing teacher. The children love it. Any word from the council about the new request? Mi nodded. The Draknari situation. 3 species want to destroy their children just like they wanted to destroy the Vorthak. But this time, 12 species have voted to try rehabilitation instead. 12? Han looked surprised. That is more than I expected. The Vorthak program is working. Other species are starting to believe that violent species can change if they are raised with love instead of fear. Through the window they watched Kethmer help a young Centaurian who had fallen down. The big Vorthak gently picked up the small alien and checked for injuries. All better, Kethmer said. Just a small scrape. You are very brave. The Centaurian child hugged one of Kethmer's clawed hands. 5 years ago, such a sight would have caused panic across the galaxy. That evening, Kethmer visited Dr. Tay in his laboratory. The old scientist was now the head of the Interspecies Development Institute, studying how to help aggressive species become peaceful. Dr. Tay, Kethmer said, I received a message today. The Council wants me to go to the Drakneri system to help with the rescue mission. Tay looked up from his research. Are you ready for that? The Drakneri children will be much more violent than you were. They have been fighting to survive for months. I remember being alone and scared, Kethmore said. I remember thinking I would die hungry and afraid. If I can help other children feel safe, then I want to do it. It will be dangerous. The Drakneri are different from your species. They might not trust you. Kethmore smiled, showing teeth that could bite through metal but had never been used to hurt anyone. Then I will show them what you showed me. That someone can care about them even when they are afraid. That there is a better way to live than violence and fear. 3 days later, Kethmore stood on the bridge of the rescue ship New Hope, looking down at another dying world. This time it was not alone. Captain Lee Yoon commanded the ship. Dr. Park So-young led the medical team. Teacher Choi Min-ji had come to work with frightened children, and standing beside them were other former monsters who had been saved and taught to choose peace. A young Saurian who had learned to build instead of destroy. Twin crystalline beings who used their power to heal instead of harm. Detecting life signs in the southern continent, reported the sensor officer. Looks like 20 or 30 young Drakneri hiding in the ruins. Kethmore thought about its own rescue years ago. How terrified it had been when the humans first found it. How sure it was that it would die alone. Captain, Kethmore said, request permission to lead the rescue team. Permission granted, Lee said. Bring those children home. As the shuttle launched toward the planet, Kethmore remembered something Dr. Mee had written in her journal years ago. She had shown it to all the Vorthic younglings when they were learning to read. We came to the stars to find ourselves. We found ourselves in the children we refused to abandon. Now Kethmore understood what those words meant. Humanity had not just saved the Vorthic children. They had saved themselves by proving that courage and kindness were stronger than fear and hatred. And now, as the shuttle broke through the clouds toward another group of abandoned children, Kethmore carried that lesson forward. The galaxy was slowly learning that no child was beyond saving. No species was beyond hope. The age of abandoning the young and innocent was ending. The age of teaching monsters to dream was just beginning. Back on New Haven Station, Ambassador Jun received a report that made her smile. The Galactic Council had just voted to fund 3 more rehabilitation centers. Applications were coming in from species across the galaxy who wanted to learn human methods of peaceful child development. In her final report to Earth, she wrote, "We went to the stars. As explorers, we became teachers. We showed the galaxy that the greatest strength is not the power to destroy, but the courage to save those whom everyone else has given up on." Outside her window, the stars watched as former enemies played together, learned together, and dreamed of a future where being different did not mean being destroyed. Humanity had made its choice, and the galaxy would never be the same.